Aloha, I'm Makana, and I create music.
For the benefit of us that don't have a deep, abiding knowledge of the history of slack key guitar, can you give us just a very brief overview about where this music comes from and the development of the instrument itself?
Sure. The guitar arrived to Hawaii sometime in the late 1700s, early 1800s, first on whaling ships, and then was brought by the vaqueros, which were cowboys employed by the King Kamehameha to teach the Hawaiians how to manage their growing cattle problem. So late at night by the campfire, the vaqueros and the Hawaiians would sit together and play guitar. The Hawaiians created their own way of playing, just like Brazil has bossa nova, Spain has flamenco, the Delta has the blues. Hawaiians slacked their strings into open keys, hence the title Slack Key, and they were able to create songs and sounds doing the bass, the rhythm, and the melody simultaneously on a single guitar. So what they would do is they would tune the guitar to a chord so they didn't have to hold a chord anymore, and then the guitar would be doing half the work. Then they would create this whole symphonic sound that sounds like 2 or 3 guitars on a single guitar. And each family from different islands had a different approach, so there are now over 100 old-style traditional tunings. People ask me, what's the point of changing the tuning so much? And to me, as a songwriter on the guitar, the point is when you play guitar, especially after playing for 20 years, I've played for 22 years now, your muscles start to determine all your creativity. They automatically lock to where they're used to going because the ego wants to be validated and say, oh, I know how to play guitar, so it gives you a sense of comfort. But when you put yourself in a new tuning, you don't know anything. You have to start with beginner's mind, and it forces this creativity. In the early 1900s, Hawaiian music was the first world music craze. It was the biggest selling genre of music in the world. It outsold everything in terms of Hawaiian swing jazz. And after the Great Depression, there was one song that really helped the sales of music to spark up and bring back music, and that was Bing Crosby's version of Sweet Leilani. So Hawaiian music, although we kind of think it's kitschy and cheesy, the beautiful thing is it's this huge wellspring of influences amalgamated into one music, because they had all these different, it was a port, you know, it was a major whaling trader town. So all the influences from Europe and Asia and everything came there, and it got distilled down into this music, and that's the root structure from which I create.
This is a centuries-old tradition that you're working with, but especially in the last couple of years, you've been doing almost exclusively original songs.
Yes.
So tell me, did it take a special oomph, or was there any kind of emotional hurdle in moving on to strictly your own stuff using these tools rather than doing covers, original music?
Well, everybody starts out mimicking. That's how you start out playing music. You copy and you imitate. And after years of going backwards in time with Slack Key into the roots, I started to want to go forwards. And so the whole process is kind of a juxtaposition of moving 2 directions at once. On one hand, the more creative I want to be with my original music, the more I try to master something that's centuries old, because I'm drawing from this well for like raw materials to build my art. I don't follow trends. I go back and I look at what were people doing 100 years ago in this place, in that place, and it's like basically it's kind of like how I am with food. Now I grow my own food, I raise tilapia. I got tired of just buying and trusting the store with my ingredients, so now we can cook from farm to table. I do the same thing with my music. I go into the root structure, I learn the raw materials, I get all of that in my psyche, and then I have this huge, you know, list of a palette, this ingredients to create really original music, and each tuning lends itself to that too.
I've never heard tilapia used as a metaphor for the act of music creation. That's wonderful. So I know that, was it 2 of your songs were used in the recent movie The Descendants?
One of my songs was used in The Descendants, and 2 other songs were used in the DVD.
Wonderful. Yeah. So tell me first how it came about, and second, if you're conscious or worried at all that it's used in, about your music being used in a kitschy way, as you were talking about.
Well, the beautiful thing about The Descendants is there was nothing kitschy about it. It's one of those few films that represented Hawaii in what we call a very pono way. It was beautiful, it was genuine, it represented the land issues right. Local people could watch it and go, oh yeah, that's cool. And so I was proud to have my music in it. The way it happened was I was asked by a friend to play the rap party for The Descendants, and George and everybody were there, and it was quite a scene, and we were just partying and jamming, and then at the end I just handed my CDs to the girl who organized the party. I said, oh yeah, if you guys are cutting and looking for music, let me know. And then I forgot about it, and 6 months later I got an email, and they were like, oh yeah, we'd like to use this song, and can you recut it like this? And I mean, you know, there's so many legs on the table of making money in the industry, and absolutely hands down the most efficient and effective way to earn a living is to write songs and have them used in sync with some other media, period.
Do you feel that it's important for songwriters to use music for social responsibility?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, only fear would stop you from saying what you really want to say, and I think it's kind of fruitless to try to predict what will people want me to say. I'm going to try to say that. I mean, these are all things that can never be timeless if we create from that perspective. We need to create because, like, I write songs because I absolutely have to write songs or I'm going to do something I would regret. That's how I channel my energy.